Greetings and welcome to Converging Streams, Interfaith Fellowship in our modern world. Our program is a production of the Muncie Interfaith Fellowship and the Unitarian Universalist Church of Muncie. This episode is a special retrospective on Converging Streams. I'm show producer Tony Piazza, and in 2007, 3 years after launching this program, I conducted a wide-ranging interview with show co-founder Reverend Dr. George Wolfe for a different program, a community affairs program I hosted at Muncie, Indiana Heritage Radio Station, WLBC. Our broad conversation touched on Dr. Wolfe's work in peace studies education, academic freedom, and community outreach at the Ball State Center for Peace and Conflict Studies, including outreach efforts such as the Muncie Interfaith Fellowship and Converging Streams. Here now is a portion of that 2007 interview with myself and Dr. Wolfe. We start with an overview of Peace Center programs.
The Center for Peace and Conflict Studies began in 1988. Dr. Phyllis Zimmerman, who teaches in the history department at Ball State University, was one of the founders of the center, and she was director of the Center for Peace and Conflict Studies from 1988 to 2002. In 2002, she stepped down, and I was appointed director, and I served as director of the center from 2002 to 2006. And right now, I'm the coordinator of outreach programs for the center, which I enjoy very much because I like to be the liaison between the center and the community, and I like to give lectures on peace education, which I am privileged to be able to do locally and around the country. The center began as a mediation program. We still offer a mediation service, primarily to Ball State University faculty and staff, but we've also done some community mediations, and we're hoping to expand that in the near future. And we also offer a Peace Studies minor, which is a curriculum offered to Ball State students. And the Peace Studies minor was one of the initial purposes of the center, and it has become really quite popular. We have quite a few students in the Peace Studies minor, and also the introductory course, Introduction to Peace Studies and Conflict Resolution, has become quite a popular course. We have to close off enrollment. We get about 34 students enrolled. So it's quite a popular curriculum, and a lot of growth has been occurring. And we've now proposed a Peace Studies major, which is being considered by curriculum committees at the university.
You had mentioned that you give speeches on peace studies issues, and I know one of the components of the program, in addition to your lectures, are guest lecturers that come in to speak to the Ball State community and to the larger Muncie community about peace studies issues. We've
had some very prestigious visitors to campus to speak on peace studies and related issues. We had Ambassador Philip Wilcox, that was stationed in Jerusalem for several years, and he is now heading up an organization related to finding peace in the Middle East. And he spoke about the Arab-Israeli conflict. He gave a wonderful overview and history of it, and his insights into what needed to be done to bring about the two-state solution that has been proposed by the Bush administration. We also had Ambassador James Joseph. James Joseph served as ambassador in South Africa, and he worked with Nelson Mandela. He gave a wonderful presentation for the Martin Luther King Lecture, which is held in January, and his presentation was what I learned from Nelson Mandela. It was a very inspiring lecture. We've had, in the more distant past, Arun Gandhi, who is the grandson of Mahatma Gandhi. And, of course, Mahatma Gandhi has made such a tremendous contribution to peace studies and the history and philosophy of nonviolence. We had Sister Ann Kendrick. Sister Ann Kendrick is the Roman Catholic nun who has worked for years with the migrant workers in Florida. And also Bishop William Swing, who just retired as the Bishop of California for the Episcopal Church. He started a program called the United Religions Initiative, which is an interfaith group dedicated to building cooperation circles around the country to help eliminate religiously motivated violence. The nice thing about the center is that the programs we offer do provide a way to bring together the campus community and the greater Muncie community. So we have a lot of people from the from Muncie and the surrounding area come to these lectures. So it's a good way to develop a bond between the Ball State University campus and the greater Muncie area.
I also understand that one of the ways that that bond is expressed in the form of a cooperation circle of sorts with the Muncie Interfaith Fellowship.
Right. The Muncie Interfaith Fellowship is a community organization that is part of the outreach of the Center for Peace and Conflict Studies, and I chair that particular organization. The Muncie Interfaith Fellowship started actually back in the 90s, but then it kind of went dormant for a while, but it was revived in 2001, particularly after the events of 9/11. People really saw a need to come together and understand different faith traditions and understand how different faith traditions have contributed to the collective wisdom of humanity. And so the Muncie Interfaith Fellowship really has representatives from all the major religious traditions. We're really fortunate to have representation from all the traditions in Muncie. We have, of course, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Sikh, Baha'i, Native American, humanist members in the Muncie Interfaith Fellowship. And we have interfaith dialogue once a month where we talk about a common theme that the religious traditions share but have a slightly different perspective on. So it's really a very growing experience. The Muncie Interfaith Fellowship, after we had Bishop William Swing here to speak, the fellowship became a cooperation circle with the United Religions Initiative. And in addition to monthly interfaith dialogue meetings, we also have community interfaith dinners, which occur 2 or 3 times a year, and they're very well attended. And this is really what we call peace building in the area of peace studies.
I know there's at least a couple of quite well-known examples within our community that people may have interfaced with through some of the peace-building initiatives. I know one of the major initiatives came about with the National Day of Prayer a few years ago.
Right. The National Day of Prayer was a controversy a few years ago, and it's those types of controversies that the Muncie Interfaith Fellowship responds to. We try to use those conflicts as opportunities to educate people and to remove misunderstandings that are so prevalent about religious traditions. So you may see from time to time a letter to the editor in the paper which has been written to address some misunderstanding or confusion which has been expressed somewhere in the community or through the media. And that's one of our purposes, to help bring people together and provide a positive format and a positive forum for people to share and deepen their understanding of each other. One of our efforts has been to develop a 15-minute radio show, which is like a religious radio show, except it's interfaith in its orientation, rather than focusing on a singular faith. So the Converging Streams radio program has been running in various ways and on various stations for a couple of years. That program is one of our outreach efforts in the Muncie Interfaith Fellowship, and we're hoping that we can find funding so that we can expand that and do a lot more with the Converging Streams concept. The nice thing about the Muncie Interfaith Fellowship is we really don't have any overhead. We don't have a building we have to maintain. We don't any donations we take we use to help the food pantry at the Friends Memorial Church downtown, the Second Harvest Food Pantry. So if anyone does make a contribution to the Muncie Interfaith Fellowship, 100% of it goes to help the program.
I wanted to circle back and discuss a little bit more about how students are being involved through the Center for Peace and Conflict Studies. You'd mentioned that some of the Peace Studies coursework is very popular now, and I've also seen a lot of activism on the campus through the form of the Peace Worker Student Group.
There's a student group called Peace Workers, as you mentioned, It's an officially recognized Ball State student organization. It was formed and developed by students. They have very good leadership and have been active in several causes, both local and causes which touch on a more national level. One event that the Peace Workers has been involved in is sponsoring a lobbying workshop. They have individuals come to the campus to explain how you go about lobbying Congress, or whether it be state or Congress or national level. And that's a very educational experience for the students. Then they also get involved in specific issues where they may choose to call public attention to what they feel is a social injustice, either locally or, again, on a broader, more national level.
And I understand that you've had the opportunity to be involved in some activism in your own experiences very recently.
Well, yes. 2.5 years ago, there began a political attack on peace studies programs around the country. This attack was led by a conservative extremist who is named David Horowitz, and he made some. Well, he made some and continues to make false accusations about peace studies at universities and about the Ball State University Peace Studies program. And he's made some ridiculous accusations such that we are anti-American and anti-military and support terrorism and so forth, none of which, of course, is true. I've been involved in speaking truth to power, so to speak, and it's given us an opportunity to clarify exactly what peace studies is all about, that it's the study of nonviolent alternatives to conflict resolution, and we study the history and philosophy of nonviolence, the strategies that have been successful in nonviolent social movements such as civil rights movement, so forth, labor movement, women's rights movement, United Farm Workers movement. And in doing so, we learn from history, and we learn how to apply those successful strategies to issues that may come up in our present-day modern times. But David Horowitz and his organization has launched this political attack, and I've been addressing that primarily through a website. Of course, I've had opportunities to speak on it around the country, and had several television interviews that were done in Indianapolis. But the website that I have developed addresses or responds to the accusations that he made, and there's an online debate section where you have my response plus letters from administrators and faculty and students and so forth that are supporting the center and supporting me and refuting the false accusations that have been made.
Thank you for listening to Converging Streams, Interfaith Fellowship in Our Modern World. Our program is a production of the Muncie Interfaith Fellowship and is supported by our community. We thank you, our listeners and followers, for your support. To connect with Converging Streams, including listening to our entire catalog of past programs, getting our latest new content, and making your own contribution to this program, visit our website, convergingstreams.org. Converging Streams is produced by Tony Piazza and George Wolfe. Thank you for listening and have a pleasant week.